Hi, I'm Zorte, and you probably don't know me, but I'm an Ultimate Iron Man with way too much free time on my hands. Equipped with 2k total, over a billion items, and an opinion that nobody really asked for, I'm here to share my old school thoughts with anyone who will listen. Hey guys, today I'm going to be changing things up a little bit and counting down 6 of the absolute coolest Ultimate Iron Man accounts I have ever seen. These range from skill restricted accounts to 10 HP PVM accounts to the overall most accomplished PVM Ultimate Iron Man and more. If you guys are as blown away by some of these accounts as I am, I'll be leaving their socials in the description below. Some of them even have YouTube channels, so be sure to drop by and don't forget to tell them that I sent you. We are kicking things off with UIM Sharon. Sharon is a 10 HP and 1 prayer PVM account. The backbone of 10 HP PVM accounts, and the reason why they can even exist in the first place, is the cannon. Sharon began his account by grinding out over 100,000 cannonballs, and keep in mind, he's an Ultimate Iron Man. This allows him to attack enemies without gaining any hit points experience, but part of what makes his account even crazier is that he doesn't have overheads. Without protection prayers, Sharon has to rely on extremely precise cannon placement, player movement, and sometimes tick eating to navigate his PVM encounters. Using these methods, he's managed to achieve some incredibly impressive items, such as the full Elder Chaos Robe set, a Dragon Pickaxe, Dragon Two-Hander, Treasonous Ring, and even Dragon Warhammer. His Wilderness Boss Hunt has amassed some impressive ranks on the UIM high scores, among which is rank 22 Venenatus, which is pretty mind-blowing for someone with 10 HP and 1 prayer. Outside of his boss grinds, Sharon is working towards 99 Slayer, a goal that was one of the driving reasons for him to create his account in the first place. Today, he sits at an astounding 75 Slayer, a milestone that very few 10 HP accounts manage to reach. It's worth noting that Sharon has also achieved other things like the Herbivore Pet, Chaos Elemental Pet, Ranger Boots, and various quest completions that are very difficult for his build. When speaking to him, he noted that Horror from the Deep was probably his most difficult challenge to date, requiring incredibly precise setups and literally over 100 pineapple pizzas. Sharon is currently working on a rebuild, as he sadly lost many of his items when he let his death pile of gear sit on the ground for too long during his Callisto trip, and they despawned. He's managed to regain most of his lost items, and now he just needs to reobtain Ranger Boots and the elusive Dragon Warhammer. After that, it's off to many more PVM grinds for Sharon. I wish him the best of luck on his rebuild and can't wait to see what he does in the future. He's documenting his rebuild series on YouTube, which I've linked in the description below. Next on today's list is the Ultimate Iron Man known as Rez. Rez is a 10 HP Ultimate Iron Man with a primary focus on skilling. Boasting a total level of 1705 at only 47 combat, he has managed to achieve some of the highest XP totals I've ever seen on an Ultimate Iron Man, currently sitting at 1.5 billion XP. His virtual levels quite honestly speak for themselves, and you can see he's achieved 200 million experience in thieving, hunter, fishing, cooking, and fire making. You might ask yourself, what does someone's pet log look like with this much skilling XP? So here it is. As you can see, he's received a combined total of 49 pets. Yes, 49. He's only missing the Mining Golem, Baby Chinchampa, and Tangleroot to round out the full set of skilling pets. Honestly, that seems a little bit unlucky to me given his experience, but one can only imagine that it's just a matter of time before he manages to catch them all. Rez's favorite achievement to date was reaching 200 million fishing experience, which he also timed perfectly to grant him 99 strength at the same time. This qualified him as maxed for his build, and that put him at the second ever level 3 Ultimate Iron Man to max. And for those of you that haven't played an Ultimate Iron Man, many UIM training methods are twice or 3 times as slow as traditional training methods, some even worse than that, and further reduced on a 10 HP account. Aside from his crazy XP totals, he's managed to collect every color of Graceful except for black, locking down some peak fashionscape to wear on his future grinds. Speaking of which, Rez plans on grinding for 100 mil smithing, 200 million rune crafting, and 200 million fletching next. Additionally, he'll level his attack to 50 to make it look a little bit cleaner and unlock some additional gear variety. One can only assume that for someone as dedicated as Rez, it's entirely possible that we see 200 mil skills across the board on his high score page someday. Following Rez, we have Shiny Yoga. Yoga is a 75 attack, 10 defense ultimate pure, with a solid combination of both skilling and PVM. With a major focus on Theater of Blood, Yoga has over 800 TOB completions, despite his restrictions and pure gear. This has allowed him to build up a nearly full top log and nearly 1 billion value in items on his account. Yoga originally started as a 1 defense pure, but accidentally leveled up when he spec'd using a Dragon Halberd, granting him defense experience. Mind you, this was done while playing with the Runelite Defense XP Protection plugin, not realizing that he could still get defense XP if it was the default style for the weapon and the first time he used it. After this, Shiny Yoga decided to knock out the Varrock Medium Diary, rounding out his defense level to 10 in the process. This isn't the only setback that Yoga has faced though, as he's wiped his account 3 times. For the unfamiliar, wiping a UIM means that an Ultimate Iron Man has died to a boss with their items in death storage, like Hespori or Vorkath, and then died again while their items were in the storage. This results in all items being deleted. The first time this happened, Yoga died to Earth Warriors, followed by a death to a small Kraken when he went AFK and his staff ran out of charges, resulting in him slowly dying, and then a third time when doing AFK Slayer. All in all, he's lost roughly 3 million experience in Herblore, a Dragon Warhammer, 150,000 blood runes, 40 mil GP, Wintertod loot, a Robin Hood hat, Ranger boots, and more. Yeah, that hurts. Despite this, Yoga has bounced back time and time again. Today he touts over 2k total on his restricted build and recently received his first scythe from TOB at over 800 KC. He also has over 2.2k clue completions, netting him an impressive collection of various treasure trail items, and 7 pets in total: the mole, heron, squirrel, rocky, scotizo, TOB, and Zolcano. His upcoming goals involve grinding out crystal shards from Zolcano for a corrupted Bofa, tackling the Inferno, and grinding chambers for a twisted bow. No doubt those are all within his wheelhouse. I just hope there aren't any more wipes in his future. With that, we are brought to Inquisitor, and let me tell you, he has hands down one of the coolest RuneScape accounts I have ever seen. Inquisitor is a combat-only UIM with a 30 defense restriction. Of course, you've probably figured out by the name that he's a 30 defense requirement to wear the Inquisitor armor set from Nightmare. His account boasts a massive variety of impressive PVM items, including a rapier from TOB, Hydra's Claw, Brimstone Ring, Sarachnis Cudgel, Devout Boots, Berserker Ring, Smoke Battle Staff, Occult Necklace, Dragon Warhammer, and of course, the Nightmare Staff. This is quite honestly just scratching the surface though, and the full list of items goes on quite a bit further. Outside of PVM drops, he's received multiple Ranger Boot drops on his grind for the Spiked Manacles, a Dragon Sword used for AFK combat training, and full Mystic Dusk, which is absolutely mental considering how hard that is to complete on an Ultimate Iron Man. For reference, I'm only aware of one other Ultimate Iron Man that's finished the set, and he used over 2,000 keys to complete it. Inquisitor managed to finish the full Dusk set in just over 300 chests. Sadly, since he's not able to train construction and use POH storage, he's often forced to make tough decisions about which items to keep, and Mystic Dusk did not make the cut. If you're like me, you might ask yourself, wait, what does this guy use for food for all of his PVMing if he can't fish, cook, or do herblore? The answer is that he uses cheesy potatoes and karambwans for almost everything. That also means that potions are incredibly hard to come by, and he's forced to push prayer flicking to the extreme to manage his PVM encounters. He explained to me that his defense limitation has more broad implications than one might expect as well. For example, his PVM is made further inefficient because he can't use Piety, Rigor, or Augury due to a 70 defense requirement for those prayers. Additionally, he's not able to access Nightmare Zone, so imbuing rings was completely off the table until Soul Ores came out and he was able to imbue his Berserker ring there. Further restrictions include no God Wars because climbing over the rubble to reach the path requires 15 agility, which also means no Nex when that releases, and sadly the skill requirements for the Raid 3 quest will also lock him out of the new raid. Not all is bleak for Inquisitor though, as the new Fasani's Nightmare encounter will allow him to reach his endgame goal of achieving full Inquisitor even faster. He's also set his eyes on the Scythe and Sanguinesti staff from Theater of Blood, and Elder Maul, Dragon Claws, Kodai Wand, Twisted Bow, and Dragon Hunter Crossbow from Chambers of Xeric. All of these items would have massive benefits across various PVM encounters, and many of them would speed up his goal of full Inquisitor significantly. In addition to these long-term plans, Inquisitor is also working towards 99 Slayer. I couldn't help but ask him if he saw the Inferno in his account's future, given that he has access to the Ranging Guild where he could buy Rune Throne Axes to attack the Nibblers. He said that this wasn't in his immediate future plans, but he also couldn't rule out the possibility at some point. If you're interested in his journey so far, or where he's going, Inquisitor has an incredibly in-depth series of his account progression on YouTube where he's quite active, and I highly recommend giving it a look. Next up is Hour. Hour is an Ultimate Iron Man one skill at a time skiller. That's a lot of words to say that he's a UIM skiller that only trains one skill at a time until he reaches level 99. If that wasn't crazy enough for an Ultimate Iron Man, he has the goal of reaching 200 mil XP in all of his skills. Originally inspired by one skill at a time accounts, Hour wanted to put a UIM skiller spin on the concept, and thus his account was born. He's well into his journey too, having already achieved 99s in farming, thieving, agility, mining, herb lore, woodcutting, hunter, and he's currently closing in on the end of fletching. As I touched on earlier, Ultimate Iron Man skillers tend to work with far lower XP rates than usual, and this is only further exasperated on an account like ours where he's locked to a specific skill progression that can limit his available choices for training skills. For example, when it comes to crafting, he will be locked out of the traditional UIM Super Glassmate crafting method and will have to resort to something called the Brimville crafting method, which involves teleporting to Brimhaven, buying crafting supplies from the charter ship, teleporting to Edgeville, crafting the supplies there, and then glass blowing the supplies while running back to the charter ship. This will net him around 45k XP per hour at 87 plus crafting. You see why this type of account's so crazy? In addition to his level achievements, Hour has set some XP records, including holding the 6-hour and 1-day agility experience records. He's also collected a fair few pets, 15 of them in total to date. He noted that Herblore has been his toughest challenge so far since he had to stockpile seeds from thieving, but that the construction and crafting will also be difficult obstacles in his future. No doubt that Hour is going to be able to conquer the one skill at a time Ultimate Iron Man skiller category, and he is definitely going to be one to watch going forward. Lastly, we have Stunlax. Stunlax is unique to this video in that his account actually does not have any special restrictions, other than not banking of course. Instead, Stunlax earns his spot in this video for his jaw-dropping PVM resume, both in his items and ranks on the high scores. Through literally thousands of boss in KC, Stunlax has managed to amass an incredible collection of some of the rarest items in the game. This screenshot was taken a few months ago, showcasing an astounding 3.5 billion in unique items. Among these high-value items are a Twisted Bow, Kodai Wand, Bandos and Armadillo Armor, Cerberus Boots, Dragon Hunter Lance, Inquisitor Pieces, Zenyte equipment, and the entirety of the Theater of Blood item list. Of course, there's much more than that, but speaking of the TOB uniques, Stunlax's TOB log is, in my mind, the single most impressive achievement that any UIM has ever completed. Over the course of 10 months, Stunlax worked his way up to rank 1 TOB at 2000 KC, making him the only Ultimate Iron Man to reach the Vercinza Shroud 5. I was fortunate enough to get to do some TOB raids with Stunlax when I was learning, and let me tell you, while I was sweating bullets, this man was absolutely snoozing his way through the theater with me on his back. And just take a look at his TOB collection log page. Take note of the 355 hard mode KC as well, which he's received every drop for, including the metamorphosized TOB pet and the blood scythe. I could honestly go on about his TOB log all day, but even his normal stats are impressive. With over 2200 total, I wouldn't rule out a max Stunlax in the future, though he would have to ruin his 68 fire making pure. Of course, to cap off his achievements, Stunlax also has an Infernal Cape, a task only a small group of Ultimates have completed. Speaking of tasks, Stunlax is living up to his reputation as the greatest Ultimate Iron Man PVMer in the game, and has been recently barreling through the combat achievements, having completed a large majority of the tasks already, including all of the TOB tasks and much of the Chambers checklist. He recently managed to finish the solo speedrunning challenge for Chambers with a mind-bending time of 16 minutes and 35 seconds. Stunlax is definitely the community pick for the first Ultimate Iron Man to finish all Grandmaster combat achievements, and if I were a betting man, I'd certainly put my money on him as well. With Nex and Raids 3 on the horizon, I'm sure we'll see a bigger looting bag and more front page ranks for Stunlax very soon. That's it for today's episode. Please leave a like and sub if you enjoyed. It really helps me grow my channel. I also love reading comments, so feel free to drop a message and let me know if you liked this type of video. A huge thank you to all of the Ultimates from today's video for taking the time to answer my questions and send me screenshots. If you want to check out the socials for any of these amazing people, those are included in the description below if they provided one. Also, if you have a super creative account, not just an Ultimate Iron Man, but anything unique or amazing that you think needs to be shared with the world, send me a Twitter DM to let me know. If I end up making another one of these videos, maybe you'll see your account there. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay healthy and stay happy. See you next time.